Good evening and welcome to Cozy Sleep Time. Get comfortable and take a slow breath. Let your body relax more and more. Tonight's story is rising strong. Simply listen or let your mind drift. There is no need to focus. Let the quiet story begin. The transition from sleep to wakefulness is one of the most significant shifts the human body makes each day. During sleep, the body repairs tissue, consolidates memories, and restores energy. Waking up reverses this process. The brain shifts from the slow waves of deep sleep to the faster rhythms of alertness. Hormones like cortisol begin to rise, preparing the body for activity. Body temperature increases, the heart rate picks up. This transition does not happen instantly. It takes time for the body to fully wake, and how we manage this period affects everything that comes after. The first moments after waking are uniquely sensitive. The brain is still in a state of transition, more receptive to suggestion than it will be later in the day. The thoughts that arise in these early minutes have outsized influence on mood and outlook. A mind that immediately focuses on worries sets a pattern of anxiety that can persist for hours. A mind that meets the day with calm awareness creates a foundation of stability. This is not about forcing positivity. It is about recognizing that the early morning mind is especially impressionable and choosing what to let in. Light is the most powerful signal for waking the body. Specialized cells in the retina detect light and send signals to the brain's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This cluster of cells regulates the timing of sleep and wakefulness, along with body temperature, hormone release, and metabolism. Morning light tells this clock that the day has begun. It suppresses melatonin and triggers the release of cortisol, which promotes alertness. Exposure to bright light in the morning, particularly natural sunlight, helps synchronize the body's internal rhythms with the external world. This improves not only morning energy, but also the quality of sleep that night. The physical experience of waking also matters. The body has been still for hours. Muscles are relaxed, circulation is slower. Movement upon waking, even gentle movement, signals to the body that it is time to be active. Stretching increases blood flow to the muscles. Standing up shifts the cardiovascular system into a more active state. These simple physical actions help complete the transition from rest to activity. The morning also offers something more subtle. It is a time when the world is quiet. Fewer demands compete for attention. The day has not yet accumulated its complications. This quiet space, however brief, is valuable. It allows for a moment of presence before the rush begins. It creates room for intention, for choice, for beginning the day on one's own terms rather than simply reacting to external demands. The power of morning is not about doing more. It is about starting well. A calm beginning tends to lead to a calmer day. The science of chronobiology confirms what many traditions have long taught. The way we wake matters. By understanding the biological processes involved and respecting the transition from sleep to wakefulness, we can make the first moments of the day work for us rather than against us. Waking with intention means beginning the day with purpose rather than allowing the morning to happen on its own. It is the difference between letting the day choose you and choosing how the day begins. Intention setting is a brief practice that orients the mind toward what matters. At its simplest, it is asking what kind of day you want to have. The answer might relate to how you want to feel, what you want to focus on, or how you want to treat others. This question, asked in the first moments of the day, directs attention toward values rather than obligations. It creates a reference point that can be returned to throughout the hours ahead. Gratitude is one of the most effective morning practices for shifting mental state. The act of acknowledging something positive, whether it is a comfortable bed, a safe home, or simply the fact of being alive, activates brain regions associated with reward and well-being. Gratitude does not require that everything be perfect. It simply recognizes that something good exists alongside whatever challenges may be present. Making gratitude a morning habit trains the brain to notice positive elements more readily, a shift that has been shown to improve mood and reduce stress over time. Mindfulness upon waking creates space between the moment of awakening and the start of activity. This space is easily lost. The temptation to check a phone, to think about the day's demands, to jump immediately into doing, is strong. Mindfulness practices, even for a minute or two, interrupt this pattern. Simply noticing the breath, feeling the body in the bed, and observing thoughts without engaging them creates a moment of calm before the day begins. Some people find it helpful to combine intention setting with journaling. Writing down a single intention for the day makes the practice more concrete. The physical act of writing engages the brain differently than thinking alone. It reinforces commitment and creates a record that can be reviewed over time. A sentence or two is enough to capture the direction of the day. The opposite of waking with intention is waking on autopilot. In this state, the mind immediately gravitates toward whatever is easiest to access. Notifications, news, worries about the day. These inputs arrive without choice and shape the morning without awareness. Waking with intention is a conscious decision to direct attention rather than letting it be captured. Over time, these intentional morning moments accumulate into something larger. Each day's intention becomes part of a pattern. The direction set in the morning, repeated day after day, shapes the trajectory of a life. Waking with intention is not only about having a better morning, but about living a life more aligned with what matters most. The mind and emotions are deeply connected to the morning experience. How we think and feel upon waking influences not only the early hours, but the entire day. Preparing the mind for the day ahead is as important as preparing the body. Mental preparation in the morning involves acknowledging what the day holds without becoming overwhelmed by it. Reviewing the day's schedule, identifying potential challenges, and deciding how to approach them reduces the anxiety of the unknown. The brain does not handle uncertainty well. When it does not know what to expect, it tends to assume worst-case scenarios. A brief mental preview of the day, done calmly, replaces uncertainty with a sense of readiness. This does not mean planning every detail. It means having a general sense of what is coming and how you intend to meet it. Emotional state in the morning is particularly vulnerable because the brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational decision-making and emotional regulation, is not fully active immediately after waking. The amygdala, which processes threat and emotion, is more responsive during this period. Small frustrations can feel larger in the morning than they will later in the day. Recognizing this biological fact helps explain why mornings can feel emotionally intense and reassures us that the intensity will likely fade as the brain wakes fully. Handling challenging emotions in the morning requires a different approach than suppressing them. Telling yourself not to feel anxious does not work. The brain does not process negation well. A more effective approach is to acknowledge the emotion without letting it define the day. Naming the feeling, accepting its presence, and then choosing to focus on something else allows the emotion to pass more naturally. The news and information consumed in the morning has a direct effect on emotional state. The brain's negativity bias makes it more attentive to threatening information than to neutral or positive information. Checking news or social media first thing can trigger the stress response before the day has started. Delaying news until later in the morning protects the emotional space of the early hours. Setting boundaries around morning technology use supports mental clarity. Notifications are designed to capture attention. They arrive with demands for response. Protecting the first part of the morning from these interruptions allows the mind to establish its own direction before responding to the direction of others. Self-compassion in the morning is particularly important on difficult days. Not every morning will feel good. Some will be marked by sadness, anxiety, or fatigue. On these mornings, the goal is not to force a positive state, but to meet the difficulty with kindness. Acknowledging that the morning is hard, without judging yourself for it, reduces the secondary stress that comes from criticizing your own feelings. The emotional patterns established in the morning tend to repeat throughout the day. A morning that begins with calm tends to produce a day with more of that quality. A morning that begins with reactivity tends to produce a day of similar experiences. By attending to mind and emotion in the morning, we create conditions for a day that is more balanced, focused, and resilient. The body responds to morning routines in specific and predictable ways. Understanding these responses helps us design morning practices that work with our biology rather than against it. Movement in the morning activates the body's systems after a night of rest. During sleep, heart rate and blood pressure decrease, muscles relax, blood flow to the extremities is reduced. Movement reverses these changes gradually. Gentle stretching signals the muscles to lengthen and prepare for activity. A short walk increases circulation and delivers oxygen to the brain. The lymphatic system, which removes waste from tissues, relies on movement to function effectively. Morning movement, even for a few minutes, supports the body's natural processes of waking and cleansing. Consistency matters more than intensity. Hydration is one of the most important morning practices for physical well-being. The body loses water throughout the night through respiration and perspiration. By morning, most people are mildly dehydrated. This affects energy levels, cognitive function, and mood. Drinking water upon waking replenishes what has been lost and supports all of the body's systems. The kidneys, digestive system, and circulatory system all function better when properly hydrated. Breakfast provides the fuel the body needs after an overnight fast. The brain requires glucose to function, and levels are lowest in the morning after hours without food. A breakfast that includes protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates provides sustained energy. Protein supports neurotransmitter production, which affects mood and focus. Healthy fats support brain function and hormone production. Complex carbohydrates provide a steady release of glucose without the spike and crash of simple sugars. Sunlight exposure in the morning affects the body at a deep biological level. Light entering the eyes triggers the suppression of melatonin and the release of serotonin, a neurotransmitter that regulates mood. Morning light also helps set the circadian rhythm for the following night. Even on cloudy days, outdoor light is significantly brighter than indoor lighting. A few minutes outside in the morning or sitting by a bright window is enough to trigger these biological responses. The body also benefits from consistent timing. Waking at roughly the same time each day helps stabilize the circadian rhythm. Morning light and consistent waking times help reset the internal clock, keeping it aligned with the external world. Irregular waking times disrupt this alignment, leading to social jet lag, where the body feels out of sync with the demands of the day. Physical self-care in the morning extends beyond essential functions. Taking time with skincare, grooming, or dressing in a way that feels good sends a signal of self-respect to the brain. These acts of care reinforce the message that the body matters. They create a sense of readiness, both physical and psychological, for engaging with the world. Caring for the body in the morning prepares the mind for the day as well, creating a foundation of well-being that supports everything that follows. The quality of the morning depends heavily on what happens the night before. Evening preparation creates the conditions for rising strong, and understanding this connection helps us design routines that support both rest and renewal. Sleep is the foundation upon which a strong morning is built. The body and brain undergo essential processes during sleep that cannot happen during wakefulness. Memory consolidation occurs during deep sleep. Emotional regulation is restored during REM sleep. Tissues are repaired and waste products are cleared from the brain. Without sufficient quality sleep, morning routines become an uphill battle. The best morning practices cannot compensate for inadequate rest. The transition from wakefulness to sleep affects the quality of rest. A wind-down routine that lasts 30 to 60 minutes signals to the body that sleep is approaching. During this time, reducing exposure to bright light, especially blue light from screens, allows melatonin to rise naturally. The brain interprets bright light as a signal that it should be awake, even when the body is tired. Dimming lights, putting away devices, and engaging in calming activities supports the natural process of falling asleep. Preparing for the next morning reduces the cognitive load of morning decisions. Every decision requires mental energy, and the morning mind has limited reserves. Laying out clothes, packing a bag, setting out breakfast items, or preparing coffee the night before means that fewer decisions are needed in the morning. These small actions preserve mental energy for the things that matter most. The sleeping environment directly affects sleep quality and morning alertness. Darkness is essential for melatonin production. Even small amounts of light can disrupt sleep. A cool room supports the natural drop in body temperature that facilitates sleep onset. Quiet or the use of consistent background sound like white noise prevents disruptions from environmental noise. The quality of the mattress, pillows, and bedding affects comfort and the ability to stay asleep. Evening reflection can improve both sleep and morning outlook. Taking a few minutes before sleep to review the day, acknowledge what went well, and note what might be done differently provides closure. The brain tends to process unfinished business during sleep. By completing this processing consciously before bed, we reduce the mental activity that can interfere with rest. Consistency in evening routine supports the circadian rhythm just as consistency in waking does. Going to bed at roughly the same time each night reinforces the body's internal clock. Irregular bedtimes disrupt sleep patterns even when total sleep time is adequate. The body thrives on predictable rhythms. Evening preparation also includes managing the mind. The thoughts we carry to bed affect the quality of our sleep and the state in which we wake. Carrying stress into sleep activates the nervous system, preventing the deep rest the body needs. Practices that calm the mind before bed, whether through meditation, gentle conversation, or simply allowing time to transition, support the nervous system in shifting from the alertness of day to the restfulness of night. The practice of rising strong carries meaning beyond the morning itself. It represents a way of engaging with life, a philosophy of beginning each day with intention, care, and purpose. Understanding this deeper significance makes the practice sustainable and meaningful over time. Rising strong is an act of self-respect. Choosing to begin the day with attention rather than neglect sends a message to the brain about what we deserve. This message is communicated through actions: drinking water, moving the body, setting an intention, eating nourishing food. Each of these actions reinforces the idea that we are worthy of care. Over time, this self-respect becomes internalized and shapes not only mornings, but also the choices we make throughout the day. The morning practice also builds resilience. Each day offers an opportunity to begin again. The habit of returning to the practice day after day, even after difficult nights or challenging days, teaches the mind that setbacks are temporary. The morning routine becomes a steady thread of consistency in a life that may otherwise feel unpredictable. This consistency builds psychological resilience that extends far beyond the morning hours. Consistent morning routines improve mental health outcomes. Regular sleep-wake cycles are associated with lower rates of depression and anxiety. Morning light exposure supports mood regulation through its effects on serotonin and circadian rhythms. Physical activity in the morning reduces stress hormones and improves cognitive function. Over weeks and months, the small actions of the morning add up to measurable improvements in well-being. The practice also cultivates self-awareness. Taking time in the morning to check in with how we feel, what we need, and what matters most develops the habit of introspection. This awareness helps us recognize when we are pieni our values, when we need rest, and when we are ready for challenge. Rising strong is not about perfection. It is about showing up consistently, doing what we can with the morning we have, and beginning again when we fall short. This approach reflects a broader way of living. It acknowledges that progress is not linear, that some days will be harder than others, and that what matters most is not any single morning, but the overall pattern. The deeper meaning of rising strong is that how we start each day reflects how we choose to live. The morning is not separate from life. It is life happening at its very beginning. By treating the morning with care, we honor the whole of our existence. We affirm that each day matters and that the way we begin is the way we choose to go forward. This understanding transforms the morning from a routine into a meaningful practice, from something we do into something we are. As our story ends, let the quiet ideas settle softly. Your body can continue to relax, breathing slow and steady. If sleep is near, let it arrive naturally. Thank you for spending this moment here on Cozy Sleep Time. Return anytime for another peaceful journey. Good night.